What's up, you beauties? Welcome to High and Wide Hockey's YouTube channel, episode 11 of season 8. I'm your host, Jim Icavone, joined as always by Jack Smith, catching us live on YouTube. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the alert so you never miss a show. For all the podcast listeners, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify so you're first in line when the newest episodes drop. Man, we have a big show for the listeners and the viewers tonight. It's the second to the last show before the Flyers regular season hockey begins. Nick, Jack, it's right around the corner here. One more week till Christmas. We got a lot to get to. Flyers camp is, I don't want to say it's all but wrapped up, but the writing is on the wall for some guys. There have been key cuts made, and we're going to talk about them. Some guys kind of sticking around, some guys sent down that maybe shouldn't have been, some guys sent down that should have been. So a lot to get to. We're going to talk Flyers lineup, maybe giving some early lineup projections. Jack, let's get into this here. Where do we want to start tonight?
Well, why don't we start with some of the cuts that were made and some of the disappointing players, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, let's get into that. So you said disappointing, and the first player that comes to mind for disappointing cut would be Alex Bump.
Correct.
I think we expected to see a lot more. Showed up pretty good in the rookie game, looked good in rookie camp. Look, I wasn't able to get to any practices in Voorhees this year, so I can't tell you how he's looked in camp, but I can tell you during games, not what we were hoping to see, right?
The one game I went to was last Saturday where he was so nonchalant with the puck, waiting to run out the period, and he kind of loses it. It's not even stolen. It just kind of gets out of his reach a little bit. Bing, bang, boom, goal with 0.6 seconds left. And I remember seeing that goal and being like, what the hell happened? Like, who was that? Bump? Like, it was a two-pronged thing. One, I cannot believe that just happened. Are you kidding me? And then I saw that it was Bump who was fully responsible for that. It's like, dude, I'm telling people that you've been doing all the little things. You just need to get on the board. And then you do that. And it was like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Up until this point, he had done and said everything correct, for the most part, correctly. You know, he had won it in college. You know, he'd said the right things. He'd got a chip on his shoulder for being drafted in the 5th round. Foregoes playing in the NHL, wants to get a phantom playoff run so he could make the team out of camp. That goes okay. You know, he learned some things, but he still stood out. You know, comes into camp, is something of a standout, does everything but just get on the board. We're just waiting for that. And it's like right up until that game. And there were times where I was a little frustrated with him. He would get stick checked and lose the puck and whatnot. But a guy like that, he was always around the puck. So that was a good sign. He was playing defense. He was doing those things. And it was like he did that, and his play kind of dipped from there. It was kind of already dipping, but that was so bad. I don't know if it got in his head. Then he gets demoted to the 4th line, and it's like, wow. Like, I cannot believe this. I thought for sure going into this offseason, like, we're going to come out of this. Bump is like 90% chance he'll make the team. Probably Luchenko after that. We'll see what else happens. A couple of dark horses here and there. And he's out. He's out. He's already sent back. Like, and rightfully so. He didn't get screwed. Rightfully so. It's like, wow. Hey, some guys need some seasoning. It's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. But shocked, to say the least. Absolutely shocked.
Yeah, for myself, I can't say that I'm so much shocked with the send down, but shocked in, I think, just what we saw from him. Yeah. And like you expect maybe a better effort because, look, it's a new league. It's the greatest league in the world. So you go from playing college hockey. Yeah, I know he played in the AHL for a little while at the end of last season. But you go from college hockey to the NHL, and the game that they want him to play, it's going to be a big adjustment. But I think that effort is something that should still be able to be seen. And I'm not sure we saw that as consistent as we would have liked to see from Alex Bump. So, you know, it's not all not all bad. Gets to go down, play with the Phantoms, who I think the Phantoms are putting something together down there. They have a lot of higher tier players, if you will, than maybe they've had in the past, or at least I perceive to be. Excuse me. So we can kind of go down the list of some other cuts here. And Jack, stop me when you want to talk about a guy. So goalies we're going to talk about, later on in the show, but Bjarnason, Kolosov sent down. We'll get into them. Denver Barkey was a guy that was not expected to make the Flyers, but sent down to the AHL. And this is going to be a big year for Denver Barkey because there are people like me out there that say, skills there, size is not. And apparently, this is a thing again, where if you're not a big player, you're not going to play for the Flyers. We'll get into that in a little bit too. But Denver Barkey sent down. Hopefully, he gets a taste of pro hockey there and can acclimate, maybe put on a few pounds, and we'll see what happens. But I don't think anybody was surprised to see Barkey sent down to the Phantoms. Were they, Jack?
No, he's just, and I liked what I saw. Don't get me wrong. And there may be a few guys on the roster in the AHL, Tuamalo, that it might be their time might be up because of a guy like Barkey. So something to keep an eye on. I think he showed everybody what made him a name in the CHL and whatnot. And he's an undersized guy, but it's one of those guys like excited to see him next year, excited to see what, how he develops. Another reason to watch the Phantoms. Never saw him realistically based on the numbers game and who's coming in to make the Flyers. But yeah, I was happy with what I saw and I'm excited to see him with the Phantoms. I think everybody understands that.
For sure. And I just lost my cutlass. I'm sorry. Here it is. Okay. So we got Bump. We got Barkey. Anthony Richard sent down. A nice little player.
Hung in there. Looked okay.
Yeah, a nice little player. A guy you can call back and forth in a pinch kind of thing.
Beautiful speed.
Yeah, very fast skate.
Beautiful.
Devin Kaplan sent down who, look, things can change. But from where I am right now, this is a career AHL guy. Maybe he's a bottom six guy. The Flyers can call up when they need a big body, something like that. Alexei Gendron sent down. Had a nice camp. Good showing. Another speed guy, could put the puck in the net. But I don't think there was any surprise he was sent down as well. Like if you're a winger and you're not, one of the top 6, top 9 guys on this Flyers roster, you're probably going to be playing in Lehigh Valley. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and these are just more guys that you play down there that have time to develop. And like, if only one guy comes out of there who's an NHL player, it's a win because these are all late round picks, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, in some cases 7th. And to see them show anything at all is like, wow, okay, nice. Just go down to Lehigh Valley, do something there. Should have a better coaching, better system, 2 goalies who are looking to also make their NHL debut, well, not debuts, but stick full-time. And, I really like what they got cooking down there. And there's players like Barkey and Kaplan, a few other guys that are going to make the Phantoms exciting, but also it's like somebody's going to come out of this. There's definitely going to be 1, maybe 2 players that will be a Flyer out of this. And that's good to see from these mid to late round picks. So just another guy, stash them, see what happens.
Yeah. And that's really what you want. You want to be drafted well. And if you can build up the AHL squad, outstanding. All right. So I'm just kind of rounding out some of the forwards on this list here. Carson Dorwart and Lane Peterson.
He's injured. Yeah.
Not sent down yet, but they are, eventually going to be sent down. I'm not sure how that works, if they need to be healthy before being sent down. But they'll be on their way, much like Oliver Bonk, who has not been sent down officially yet. But once he's deemed healthy, I suppose will be sent down. So, all right, let's get into the.
I would just say Bonk, really up. It's not his fault, but it's definitely disappointing. Talk about, we're going to get into the defense later, and Bonk's going to come up because it's like, man, if he was healthy and had a good camp, I really think there could have been something there. Really? He was just never healthy. Based on what we're going to be looking at, opening night roster, he could have made them think. If the great Jack Nesbitt can make you think after 2 plays, I'm sure that Oliver Bonk, who we're looking at a position in need, when we go over our lineup and who our bottom pair D is, and there's more to it than just that. It's like if he was healthy and playing well, he's a guy not only that they want to make the team, but would have made a lot of sense too. But unfortunately, day to day just turned into 2 weeks after about 2 weeks of day to day. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. I don't like when this stuff happens, but it is what it is. Hopefully, he just gets some seasoning in the AHL and maybe he's a call up at some point. But
Yeah,
really,
I don't know about that, Jack. I think that's a lot of. I'm just going to say it. I think that's a lot of wishful thinking on your end there.
You're saying that from a perspective of I don't know how good Bonk is, and that's fair. I'm saying the defensemen at the NHL level aren't very good, so therefore there's a way to it. That's what I'm saying.
You would think. You would think, right?
There are two. We're going to get to it. I jumped the gun a little bit. They're two different style defensemen. Keep that in mind. So we'll get to that. And I'm with you. Let's not jump the gun. Next. All
right. Let's finish this list here. All right. So on the cut list here, Hunter McDonald, who we're seeing what he is. He's not just a little rough around the edges. I think he's gonna need maybe another year or two in Lehigh Valley, but will be a big physical defenseman. Maybe somebody they can pair with a Bonk down the road or something like that. But I didn't hate what I saw from Hunter McDonald. It's he'll be a fan favorite, I think. But got cut, and I don't think that was really a surprise.
No, he's a long-term project. It is what it is. We know they love him, but yeah, he's going to be what they kind of are looking for in the third pairing, especially if things go poorly. So keep that in mind. But he's going to really have to clean up his game. But that might be all it takes. We'll see how long that's going to be, though.
Yep. The other guy on this list here is Ty Murchison, who I believe won the Defensive Defenseman of the Year. Damn it, I can't remember the conference that his team is in. In the NCAA, but cut another guy that head down to the Phantoms, had 4 games with Lehigh Valley last year, a goal and an assist. Build up the AHL team. 22 years old, so maybe give him a little while to cook down there. And look, this is probably a career AHLer, and if he amounts to anything more, massive bonus. Former 5th round pick in 2021, so I think that is a Fletcher pick, right, Jack?
Oh. That's a good question.
2021. I mean, if it's not Fletcher,
yes,
it's got to be Fletcher.
2021 is Fletcher. Yes.
So we'll see. But I don't think anybody was really surprised to see Ty Murchison cut. But the thing is, like, there's some good names on this list. Guys that we would have liked to see. I'm sorry, I left out 2 guys here. Helge Grans.
There we go.
On this list, and look, didn't do anything to help his case. Certainly in any of these preseason games. But I'm not sure what people are expecting to see from Helge Grans. Like, I mean, look, by all accounts, it certainly seems like the bottom pair has been decided for the Flyers even before camp began. But what do we want to see from Helge Grans on the Flyers, Jack?
Jim, I'm glad you brought this up, because I think this guy kind of blew it. I think that they didn't look at him as a top 6 or a top 4 defenseman, but he was the guy I thought could, when you look at the current defense, could have made the team. And I think they wanted him to. He didn't look out of place at all last year. If anything, he looked pretty strong. Nothing great, but like enough. And I really thought if he had a strong camp, I don't know if I go as far to say it was his job to lose, because you have actual NHL talent. Like Zamula has like 70 NHL games under his belt, so I wouldn't go that far. But I think he was one of their favorites for this year to win the job out of camp and kind of be the guy where it's almost his job to lose. Whether it's the 6th or 7th defenseman we're talking about, it's still an NHL spot. And he really dropped the ball. Like, he looked okay in his first game, and it was all downhill from there. And they probably had a conversation with him. Like, look, maybe you just didn't start off the season too well. Go clean up your game, and we'll reevaluate around Thanksgiving or something like that. But I do think that he was a guy they had on the list. Say, hey, this guy can make it out of camp and be a bottom pairing guy. I mean, he's 6'3", 205. He could fit that. He could fit what they're going for. Again, I'm throwing shade, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly fits the mold of what they want to put on that bottom pair. But again, it seems predetermined. Like, oh, we went out and signed these guys in the summer. Like, we can't put them on the AHL roster. They have the NHL experience. Grants has 6 games in the NHL from 2020 last season, actually. And if I remember correctly, I don't think he looked bad. But like that, I guess that's what he needed to do. He needed to overly impress in order to make the Flyers this year. And I guess that's a good thing because you want these guys to start knocking down the door. He is 23 years old. Like, this is the time you want to start seeing these guys, 23 and 24-year-old defensemen, start making their way onto the NHL roster. And I'm sure at some point there'll be injuries and Helge Grans will be in consideration. But it's starting to get to the point where, are you an AHL guy for life? Or, are you going to be a bottom pair guy? Are you going to be a 7th D? It's good options to have if you're the Flyers. I don't know if it's time to panic.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think it's panic time either. Just look at it this way. Last year, who would you rather call up to the Flyers? Adam Ginning or Helge Grans?
I would take Helge Grans all day.
I would as well. And I think the Flyers felt the same thing going into this offseason. And they're like, well, that didn't work out. And it's like Jennings back in the fold. Like, what? Like, I wonder
strange. if it's the new it's the new coaching is what it is. Like, I think they like different. I mean, it happens, right? Different coaching staffs have different guys, and everyone's got a clean slate, which is good for a guy like Adam Ginning, who, he's getting a second look here,
I guess so. Talk about it. He was a Hextall guy. You were asking about Murchison. That's the Hextall guy. Wow, with a low ceiling. So it's just things did not go the way they planned at a few positions, and that's to be expected. But like when I look at Helge Grans, it's like you blew it, man. You really had a spot if you just did what you were doing when you were called up last year. Just steady, as close to steady Eddie as you can be. And he was bad. He was okay in the first game. He was bad. Barely got playing time after that. Wasn't very inspiring, and boom, just like that, he's gone.
Yeah, and they certainly opted for some of the veteran guys here, and
we'll get into that.
Want to check. So obviously the last guy, at least I think, if there's somebody else that I missed here, is Emil Andre, Jack.
Oh, take it away, Jimmy.
I don't know what this guy's got to do to make a roster. He's got to grow. Actually, you know what? Somebody put it in the chat. He needs the leg implants. You ever see that? There's that video of that dude going around where he got the leg implants and he went from 5'8" to like 6 foot in the span of 6 months or something. Somebody get that for Emil Andre. Like, that's what he needs. Like this kid's got all the skill in the world, Jack. Like, look. Did he blow the doors off? Was he putting up 3 points a game? No, but it's clear to see. Like, just watch him do the little things. Like, he's such a fun, pleasant player to watch. With the puck, makes the correct pass, turns the puck up ice quick, can move, can skate. All right, there's defense. You're worried about him in the defensive zone, his size, his strength. Pair him up with one of these guys, Gilbert or Juleson. Look, if the point is you want skill on the roster, if you're trying to send a message to the younger guys, you can play your way onto this team. They're sending the wrong message with this, right? Because now it's shit. I'm not 6 foot. I'm not 6'2". I'm not 230. I'm not 215. I don't stand a chance. Send me off somewhere else, man. Like, that's the message here. You're not 6'2". You're not playing on our third pair. That's the message that was sent, no?
Well, yeah, for the most part. My theory with this whole thing is, though, Jim, it's like you saw what they've been doing in these drafts. They're drafting everybody 6'2" and 3 and up. And they've talked about how they want to get meaner. They want to get bigger. They want to push around the little people. And you can't come out and say those kind of things, say you want to turn a corner, and then ice a defense that has York, Drysdale, and Andre on it. And I'm with you. I think you should ice the best players, the most skilled players. But that's not how they're looking at things. And it almost felt unfair to even have Andre play because unless somebody gets hurt, there is no feasible way he's making the team unless he like truly freaked out. And, we knew that wasn't going to happen, and it's kind of unfair to him. I almost feel that Andre is nothing more than an insurance policy to Drysdale. If things for Drysdale don't work out, I'm not saying he's the answer, but maybe they'll just, okay, we'll move on from Drysdale. Let's see what Andre's got. If Drysdale were to turn into the player they expect him to be tomorrow, Andre would be on the trading block immediately if he's not already, and maybe even moved even faster. That is all Andre is right now. So don't be surprised if there's some kind of hockey trade or something down the road. I don't want to get too crazy because Drysdale's still very much a work in progress, but you just don't typically, especially the way that this team has discussed how they want to run their defense, have three small defensemen on a line or on their for their defensive pairings, one per each line. Like, it just does not typically happen, and they're definitely not for it happening. I thought for sure he was going to make the team until I started reading into it. I was like, wow, he's on the outside looking in. He doesn't make sense as a seventh defenseman or an eighth. He needs to play. So he's either going to make the team or he wasn't. The thing that's probably going to drive you even crazier, Jim, is for some reason, this team loves Zamula. Like, he can do no wrong. And I don't understand that. I'm not saying he's horrific, but I don't understand why he's like can't be moved. To me, that's baffling. Maybe it's a waiver thing. I don't know.
Stinks.
Yeah, he sounds like a caller on
the Phantoms don't even want him.
I'm just saying it's very odd. It's very odd. Andre was in a situation where he can't win. He can't win, and now I don't know what's going to happen because of it. Hopefully, he just goes down, plays his game. It's the same system. Somebody unfortunately gets hurt. He maybe gets a call up and he sticks at that point. Then you figure it out. But coming into this camp, it didn't seem like there was a shot he was going to make the team. And there's some other defensemen besides Zamula who are going to make the team. That is the way talk about them. It's like I'm getting, and this has been all over. I'm getting McDonald vibes. It's like, what do you mean Jolson played well? He did not play well. Like, that's playing well. We have a problem. And it's just like, you just like that he's big. Like, okay, you got to do a little bit more than just be big. And it's like, I'd rather roll with a small guy who knows how to play than just get a big ass guy in there. And we'll see what happens ultimately. But I feel bad for Andre. I really do.
Look, he said he's going to keep. Look, first off, we talked about this, right? Like, we stopped talking about Cam York and how he's a good second pair defenseman, and he's getting paid like a second pair defenseman. So if anybody that wants to argue that Cam York is a legit top pair defenseman, go argue with Danny Briere. Go argue with the Flyers because they think he's a second pair guy too. That's why he's getting paid like one. All right. The other thing, look, I said it. We said it last year. York, Drysdale, Andre, all similar. Right. For me, all right, Drysdale's the project, but I think he's a guy that if they can figure him out, has the capability he's got the skills to be a 60-point defenseman. Maybe that sounds crazy to some of you guys, right? Because we haven't really seen that yet from Drysdale, but he has the skill set to be a 60-point guy. I have no doubt about that. Emile Andre, in my opinion, is a second pair defenseman. Hands down. Like, he can be that guy. Facilitate. He can do all the things that people are begging to see from Cam York on the power play. Emile Andre can do those things, but you don't have to pay him $5 million a year yet. When they signed Cam York, for me, the writing was on the wall. Emile Andre's, you got to move him because there's not a spot. You can't ice these three guys in the same defense corps. And so, Tocchet comes in. It's just fine. We'll see what Tocchet does. I'm not angry at Tocchet. I'm just frustrated because this is a really good player, at least I think. And he's not going to get a shot here. He's going to get moved. He has to be moved. So, Tocchet comes in, says he wants to go into the season with 8 defensemen on the roster. And you're telling me Emile Andre's not one of those 8? I would rather him play in the AHL than be one of the 2 guys sitting in the press box. But holy shit, man. Sorry, YouTube. Like, whatever. He is worlds better than Igor Zamula. And I've been saying it. I don't even know how long. Forever. Igor Zamula he slows the game down because he's got one speed. He's slow. He's slow as shit. He doesn't do it on purpose. He stinks. His body doesn't move as fast as his brain. That's all he can. He's just a slow guy. Meanwhile, you have a guy that can potentially facilitate your top power play in Emil Andre. And maybe that sounds crazy, but we saw it. We saw it for a little bit in the I think it was the end of the last preseason game. Maybe it was a 4-on-3. I'm not sure what it was, but it was Andre, Barkey, and two other guys. He was facilitating. And when he didn't have the puck, he was putting himself in space to receive the puck, trying to draw defenders out with him. Like, this is a smart hockey player. It makes no sense that he's going to Lehigh Valley, at least to me. And it's a little frustrating. So,
skill-wise, you're absolutely right. He was better than Zamula, Gilbert, Juleson, and all three of those, Jennings, all four of those guys are probably going to make the team because Tocchet seems to want 8 defensemen. We'll see. It'll probably be a discussion there, but like, damn. Like, my God, those 4 guys, and you couldn't find a spot for Andre. Clearly, they had a idea of what they wanted to do in the back end of their defense, and a guy like Andre just doesn't seem to fit the bill, and that's a damn shame.
Yeah, I mean, we're back to, look, I get it, right? Like, there's always two sides to everything. I get it. Like, they're sending down the smaller guy. They want beef on their bottom pair. They want long sticks. They want their third pair to be out there clogging up passing lanes and big bodies. They're not really going to count on their third pair for offense. I get it. But if you don't have a spot for this kid, for this guy, like, there are other positions that the Flyers still need. You know, they could use a goalie. They could use a center. They could use something, you know. If we're going to start adding to the roster, package this kid up and let's do something. He shouldn't be in the AHL. This is an NHL player, you know? So I think that's where I'm a little frustrated. Like, because now you have an asset. Cam York's not going anywhere. I don't know if this is a make or break year for Drysdale. I think if he doesn't have a great year, he's a guy that you can bring back on a decent contract and still try to figure it out. So I just don't see a spot for Andre on the Flyers going forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of the gist of it. So to bring back an earlier conversation, Andre doesn't stand a chance, has no real way of making the team no matter how good he plays unless he scores like a hat trick in every game. I just named Gilbert, Juleson. I really didn't see anybody play well. That maybe at best, Gilbert had a game where he was okay. Zamula does a whole lot of nothing for everybody. We've established that. Jennings, like, he almost went to Sweden. Like, he was nothing. Remember this time last year, preseason, how bad he was? You know, so you're telling me if Oliver Mock's not healthy, he just does okay. He's not in conversation based on that. That's what I was getting at. That's how rough of a defense we're going to start, at least on the bottom pair, because Andre doesn't realistically have a chance, no matter how you look at it. This is who it's going to be, those 3 guys, with Zamula, who's already locked in. Like, Jesus. I'm not saying it's the end of the world as a team. I think it's unfair to Andre, but at the same time, you're telling me Bach wasn't healthy and playing at least decent? He's not in the conversation?
It's tough, man. He's 20 years old. It's tough.
Yeah. Hey, we saw what they do with Luchenko. Like, I mean, my God.
So the only reason I think that's different is Luchenko's 19 and he's like in that limbo space.
Yeah, but no, I mean, go back to last year. Like, they like, you know, and I know a lot of that was torts.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, you want to turn a corner. You want the best possible player. You also drafted this guy in the first round. You know, if he's playing better than these Andrew McDonald lights, like, because they're big, he's big too. Like, why not give him a tryout? You can always send him down on the Phantoms. If it doesn't work out, send him down. You get him his cup of coffee. He'll be back, hopefully.
I can't argue that. Yeah. If he earned it, give him a taste or whatever. Yeah.
But the point of it is that's how rough of a defense at this bottom pairing is going to be, even the guys in the press box.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, that's I don't think we usually expect much offense from a third pair. Like Zamula's a puck mover. He's slow as molasses, but I think that's how we all think of Zamula, as just a long puck mover. He's kind of like Gumby out there. Like, that's who he reminds me of. I don't know. Like, I don't think that Dennis Gilbert's going to fill out that bottom pair. He'll probably be the 7th, 8th guy. And look, we're going to be looking at Juleson and Zamula on the bottom pair. That's what it's going to be. So because I don't think you can send Zamula down, and he's basically, he's Michkov's buddy. I don't think they're ready to break that up yet.
Well, yeah, hopefully his translating days are over, because as Tort said, his game fell off a cliff when he had to do that.
Hey, there's my next video. Nick Savo9 says Andre is overrated by the fan base.
I mean, it depends on what you're comparing it to.
And maybe he is, but
he still played better than the other defensemen.
Hands down. In today's NHL, if you want puck moving, if you want hockey IQ, if you want getting up the ice quick, if you want turning defense into offense quick, Andre's the kind of defenseman you want. Puck moving, yada yada. Look, I guess he's listed 5'9". I can't say that I've ever stood next to Emil Andre. I was looking through pictures today, and on skates, he was the same height as some smaller dudes. So I wonder, he's got to be smaller. He's got to be shorter than 5'9", right? The thing is, he's not small. He's, I don't know what it is, 5'7", 5'8", and $190. That's a big boy for 5'7", 5'8", man. That's a bowling ball,
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, which is very strange. Very strange. Yeah, I guess we should, right? There you go. And that's all the cuts. I don't think we missed anybody.
All right. So how about maybe a guy that, I don't know, maybe should have been cut? So we'll get to some of the guys on the list here. And we've been talking about Jet Luchenko for a little while, and kind of theorizing what we think is going to happen, what we think is going to go on. We had Russ Cohen on a few weeks ago, who kind of planted the seed. And just in case, we'll map it out again. So Luchenko can't play in the AHL this year. He's 19 years old, so he either has to stick with the Flyers or he's going back to the OHL. And Guelph stinks. Flyers don't want him playing for Guelph. They don't want him playing for a bad team. They don't think it's going to help his development, kind of thing, yada, yada. They would prefer Guelph trade him. Now, it's, in my opinion, it's evident, if we're going based off camp and, and who's going to play where and size and this and that, Luchenko's not a fourth line guy, right? So you're going to give that fourth line spot to Obels, Dvorak, Hathaway, and whoever else. Luchenko's not going to play the fourth line. So based off what they did with Emil Andre, you would send him to the OHL. Luchenko, he's got nothing left. Look, I guess there's benefits to keeping him in camp as long as you can, to make him feel part of the team, yada, yada, and then letting him go to the OHL. I think the Flyers are trying to force a trade out of Guelph. So they're going to keep him as long as possible. And maybe that's for 9 games again or whatever it is. But I don't think he certainly hasn't earned a spot on the roster just based off what he's done in these preseason games, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're not there in practice and whatnot, but the only thing I'll say is, he had the injury, so he's getting a very slow start. He didn't play in the rookie game, and then he's basically ramping things up. That being said, his last game, I wouldn't say he exactly popped, but he definitely was playing a lot better. He was looking like one of the fastest guys on the ice. So there's something there, and they're probably going to turn that as, well, they're not going to come out and say this, but like the situation, the whole OHL thing and whatnot, and Guelph. And it's like, well, we don't want that. Can't go to the AHL. We kind of want him to make the team. We can use his injury as an excuse. And look, now he's playing better. This is what we had last year. If you remember last year, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you or I had him making the team out of camp. He played well. He didn't play well enough to make the team. And, now we all know that was a Torts thing. But considering his situation, that is the number one thing working for him right now. Now that he's playing better, it's just giving them an excuse. And it's a shame because Obels and Grabenkin, who both will probably make the team, but Obels might start off in the press box. And that's the shame because he probably had the best preseason of any forward looking to make the team. I'm not going to lose sleep over it or anything. They'll intertwine these guys and whatnot. And, guys get hurt. But, if he makes it, it's really because of that situation. Now I'm really curious how tomorrow's game goes, and I'm going to the game Saturday and whatnot. And that's more of a dress rehearsal, so we'll see who we're looking at there. But it's a shame, but it isn't. Like, we know the long-term look is Luchenko, not exactly Abels, who's 29 years old.
Yeah.
He definitely earned it, though. He did. He had the best of the guys trying to make the team. He clearly had the best, and I know Grabenkin's right behind him. So it is strange, it is odd, but we know there's more at play here, and that's what it comes down to. And at the end of the day, I don't mind it, because I think I'd rather him be forced on the Flyers roster and kind of learn at the pro level than go back to Guelph and do a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, it's a situation to watch, that's for sure. So, Jet Luchenko, look, I like him. Nice little player. We'll see what happens. Somebody mentioned Dvorak in the chat there. Interesting that Dvorak got a 1-year deal. They said they're not doing the sell thing anymore. I would love to see what happens at the trade deadline, but I assume that they only brought in Dvorak for the 1 year. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Dvorak wants to do the prove it thing, but it lines up for Luchenko for next year when he's 20 years old.
Right. And they paid him so much to keep it at 1 year, which was the right move. I've seen him, it's been moved, but I've seen him a lot with Mishkov, Dvorak, that is, with Mishkov and Zegras. And I think we discussed that. And it may have been your idea. And a lot of that is the face-offs. He can come in, take the face-offs, even be the defensive guy on the line while Zegras and Mishkov do their magic. And I don't really have them. Now I'm seeing a lot of Tippett with them, but we'll ultimately see. I don't know. I thought I heard that Dvorak, 1, wanted to play center, and 2, wanted to play higher in the lineup. But ultimately, I don't really care what Dvorak wants. Just make it work. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's going to kind of be the new Scott Lawton, I think, Dvorak. They're just going to put him all
He's
over
good
the
at face-offs. He is. I mean, the game I was at, he won a face-off in the defensive zone so clean. It was like an NHL, the video game style of win, an instant out of the zone. I was like, damn, I haven't seen that since like Giroux and Coots in his day. Like, that was nice. Again, preseason, but still, our face-offs are pretty rough, so I'll take that.
It's interesting that like when we talk about analytics and stuff, that face-offs is not like a huge thing. Like, that's how you typically get possession of the puck.
Corsi's a big possession stat for analytics. Yeah, I don't know how it correlates, but I like guys who win faceoffs. It doesn't matter what zone, honestly.
Yeah,
but I'll take it. And then, hey, you can odds of him coming back next year are slim to none. Move him at the deadline, I guess. But if you're in it, then whatever. It is what it is. But you don't lose anything. It's a 1-year deal. That's why you paid what you paid. That was the right move. Yep.
All right. Speaking of short-term deals, you mentioned a little bit Rodrigo Abels, who, by all accounts, has had a really solid camp. Former 7th-round pick in 2016. One of those stories where he kind of goes, all around the world here. Ends up with the Flyers last year, and this is what they brought him in for. They brought him in to compete for a fourth line role, maybe top 6 role in the AHL. He's just a good depth guy to have around. All of a sudden, he's pushing to make the Flyers out of camp, which I think was best case scenario for a guy like Abels. And if big body guy, and he's earning it.
He's definitely earning it.
Yeah. So if they do start out with Dvorak on that fourth line, and I wouldn't be mad at that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You could potentially have a fourth line of Dvorak, Abels on your left side, and Hathaway on your right side. That's a pretty solid fourth line to me.
Or you can have. I mean, let's say Luchenko doesn't make the team, which I don't think he. Let's say I don't think he should, or he goes back to Guelph. Right? You could have Abels centering Hathaway and Grabenkin. That would be interesting. That would be fun. We'll see if the bodies can hold up, particularly on Grabenkin's side. But that would be a fourth line that would have enough size and defense, but could also maybe chip in offensively here and there.
Yeah, they have options, that's for sure. And I think a little roster flexibility is a good thing to have. It gives you the chance during games to switch things around. If guys aren't working, you have guys that are capable of playing up and down the lineup, at least the 2, 3, 4 lines there. So good flexibility to have. But I think at least Abels will make the team in some. It would be a shame if he had the camp that he did and they sent him down. But let's move on a little bit here. We're 40 minutes in already. Man, time flies when you're frustrated with the
when
Flyers.
You're pissed off. Freaking Emile Andre.
Nikita Grabenkin, Jack, who you just mentioned, by all accounts, I think overall did what he needed to do to make this team. I think the number one thing he had going for him, he's Russian. And he gets along with the Flyers, superstar player, and Matvei Michkov. Number two, played well. And number three, big body. Number four, he's young. This is a guy that you want to pan out. It's one of the pieces you got back for Scott Lawton, former fan favorite, beloved in the locker room. You want Nikita Grabenkin to work out, and he didn't come into camp acting like the spot was owed to him. I think he went out and earned a spot. And I would look, based off what we saw in these preseason games, you're hoping it can translate. When he's going up against, surefire NHL talent, because let's be real, in these preseason games, it's kind of hit or miss. Like teams don't put their best guys in every night. Grabenkin could be a piece here. And, look, if he plays on fourth line, fine. I'd be interested to see him play alongside some of these more skilled guys. Let him crash and bang. Let him get in front of goal. Let him get in the corners, win some puck battles, whatever it is. This is a guy you can put, I don't know, anywhere in the lineup from maybe first to fourth line. I'm not saying he's a top line guy, but, as long as you have those two guys that can play together, let's say a Michkov and, I don't know, toss me a Michkov and Zegras, you can put whoever on that wing. And when you have guys as skilled as Michkov and Zegras, they'll just get that other guy in the mix. Who was it back in the day? It was like, let's say Richards, Gagne, and Carcillo. Do you remember like a line like that?
More like a Loppel, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm not comparing Grabenkin to Carcillo in any way, but it just something like that.
Well, who really shines, who really stands out is like Drew Voracek and Michael Raffl. Remember that? Raffl played everywhere. Sure. Top line, bottom line, and wherever he Swiss Army knife.
Sure. That works too. Look, I was down on this guy end of last year. All through summer, I'm poo-pooing him, telling everyone, hey, everyone's got their hopes up. I think you want to talk about overrated. Nikita Grabenkin's overrated. Yeah, he's funny, but, can he do things out on the ice? And I think this preseason, I'm not going to go as far to say as I'm a Grabenkin believer or Grabenkin truther, but I've liked what I've seen, and I'll give him a shot. I'm not going to go out there and pick him apart every night because I want him to do well. I don't want to say that I'm 100% won over, but I'm like, all right, cool. This is what everyone was saying that he does, and he's been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely came out. We're like, I don't understand why Grabenkin is being penciled in on an NHL roster on the fourth line. And that, to me, goes back to, I know that Toronto fans were upset he was in the trade. I watched a lot of Phantoms games, and there were just so many other players that stood out before him. He was not bad. He was there, but some of the guys like Garrett Wilson's and Gonchar and those guys, but definitely Bump and Luchenko, and those guys all stood out first and foremost. But that being said, Grabenkin has been a pleasant surprise. He's truly earned it. Him and Obels are the 1 and 2 forwards, well, really anybody who has earned the spots on the roster. They really have. Grabenkin's done it all. He's making the hard plays. He's going into the corners. He's going along to winning puck battles. He's scoring. He's got points. He clicks with, as you just laid out, pretty much anybody. He can speak Russian. That definitely helps. I mean, he's a shoo-in. I think he can have an amazing personality. You don't make the team for this reason, but I think he'd be a great locker room guy. I think he'd be great with the media. I think he checks a lot of boxes, and he shockingly can play a lot better than I thought he could already. And he already has some NHL experience as well. So there's just a lot to like there, and I'm really looking forward to how this goes, and I hope he sticks.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and that's part of the fun of, I think, watching this team, especially a young up and coming team is getting the opportunity to watch guys trying to make something of their opportunity. And look, we're talking about another former late round pick here, 5th round pick. And anytime you get a guy back in a deal for one of your better players, I don't want to say it's like a bonus, but all of a sudden you have a guy that can maybe contribute on your team. He becomes an asset at the very least. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like a Tippett coming back in the Giroux trade. I think we were all underwhelmed with Tippett when he was the guy announced. And
Well,
look,
Florida
Flyers,
certainly was.
yeah, and he's carved out a name for himself around the league during his time with the Flyers. So hopefully Gurbankin can be the same. Look, and let me just preface with this, because Tippett was a first-round pick. Like, it was almost expected. Like, he needs to score goals.
Yeah, top 10.
The expectations, I think, for me with Gurbankin are far less. I don't know what we would project, but
well, he was the throw-in in the Giroux deal. We expected to get a first. We didn't get a 2024 first. It was a 2025. You're kind of like, oh, come on. And or maybe it was, I think we expected 2023 to 2024, whatever. And we knew it was going to be later. It's Florida. So you're looking at the, 25 to 30 pick. And then so Tippett was kind of a throw-in. And so in this deal, like with Toronto, it's like this guy, they offered a 3rd round pick, and Danny Briere said, I'd rather have Gurbankin. And it's like, geez, he could theoretically be better than that pick unless they trade it for a player. Like he's already going to make the team. You have no idea what a Toronto first-round pick in 2027 is going to be. They could finally break through to the 3rd round. It could be like a 28th overall pick if you even still have it. Like, I cannot believe Gurbankin already is making the team, really. We'll see what he does. I don't want to get too excited. But, and on top of that, he's going to be a fan favorite, too. And he speaks Russian. It just checks so many boxes for this team. It's unreal. And then they're not handing it to him. They're like, ooh, another friend for Michkov. Let's force him on his line. Let's force him in the locker. No, he truly earned it.
Start sending down the smaller, more skilled guys because he speaks Russian. I'm just kidding. There was a comment here I liked real quick before we get to that. Gurbankin looks like a better Wade Allison, that Linden 49 said. And that's kind of true. He's doing the things that we were expecting to see from Wade Allison that we just never really saw.
Well, yeah, Gurbankin's on the track. Wade Allison was always flying off the track and slamming into the boards. When Allison played at his best, he was wild and it was fun. Yeah. Yes, but he could not stay healthy. So when he pulled back his game to stay healthy, he was not effective. Gurbankin is more skilled, where he doesn't have to be a lunatic out there and get himself hurt. He's skillful. He's big. He's skillful defensively. He's not afraid to go into the corners and get pucks, and he does a little bit of everything. So we'll see how good he is at it ultimately. But he does a little bit of everything. I, knock on wood, haven't seen too many injuries for him. Where Allison was exciting and energetic and could do some stuff, but ultimately, if he wasn't a wild man, he wasn't healthy. And when he was healthy, he was useless.
Real quick on Wade Allison, since he came up, not a name that I expected to see tonight. Also picked in 2016 in the 2nd round, same draft as Rodrigo Abel. See, it's just crazy how career projections can go here. He started out with the Flyers, 14 games in 2021 after somewhat of an injury riddled, I think, collegiate career or camp, whatever it was with the Flyers. Anyways, do you know he was kicked off of his KHL team last year for drinking?
Allison was?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, 2 strikes. So he actually did it twice. They kicked him off the team. He's currently in the German league playing for the Straubing Tigers. Played in 1 game. So it's just crazy how, as a guy picked in the 7th round of the same draft kind of goes all the way like this and makes it back to the NHL at 29. And Wade Allison, maybe he makes his way back to the league at some point in the future. He's still just 27 years old. But since his name came up, figured I'd look to see what he was up to today.
Speaking of old Flyers, Jacob Peltier was waived.
Saw that, yeah. Now he wouldn't be allowed to play for the Flyers anymore.
It's just funny how I can't believe we didn't keep him. And then look at this. He's just not an NHL player.
Well, he was another guy that I really enjoyed watching. While once Torts let him play on another line besides the 4th line, and look, I like Torts, but I could disagree with some of the things that he did. Peltier, I think, looked good for Tampa Bay in camp too. I think it's just maybe he just is an AHL guy. Maybe he doesn't have the size. I don't know. The league, maybe it's going back to man body hockey. I'm not sure. But like, where does that put Bobby Brink? You know, what's that do for Denver Barkey, a guy everybody loves? You know, the Flyers are basically saying, if you're not this tall, you can't ride the roller coaster.
At least on defense. At least on defense. Yeah, we'll see when those bigger forwards start coming in and the Nesbits start taking over the projects.
That's true. All right, so we didn't really talk about goaltending tonight. Let's knock that out real quick here. So I mentioned Bjarnason, Kolosov sent down to the Phantoms. I love that the Phantoms have a tandem set for the year there. I'm sure they'll need, somebody at some point. But I think it's like for everybody involved, it has to just feel normal that, okay, these are our two AHL guys. It's not going to be a mix of, 3 and 4, and maybe Fedotov will be down there. Maybe he won't, right? It just feels like some sense of normalcy. And maybe that brings a sense of like calm or something. I can't think of the word right now.
Yeah, stability.
Stability, that's it.
It's amazing. Vladar, a taller goalie, is. I remember Fedotov playing, and he just was so unorthodox, but not in a Hasek / Tim Thomas kind of way. Just unorthodox. Big guy all over the place, looking over his defenseman. I'm like, that's never good. Vladar is like, yeah, I know how to play goal. Maybe I'm not the best, but I know he was positionally sound, and it was like chef's kiss. Like, wow, he knows where the pipes are. He knows where the crease is. He knows what his defense is doing. Like, that to me was amazing in its own right. I'd start him as a starter, but they won't do that. They're going to, no, Urson's our guy. But I really like what I've seen from Vladar, and hopefully that pays dividends to the Flyers, and to Urson as well. I really like it. I understand it's very little sample size, but cannot complain what I've seen from Vladar at all.
Yeah, at the very least, that's all I'm hoping for is the absolute least. Just bring stability, don't get hurt right away. And
oh yeah,
or God forbid, like the yips or something crazy. Like, just provide a sense of steadiness, to where they're not scrambling. Oh, now we got to call Kolosov up, and that screws up the whole AHL thing. I just want stability in goal. Really, we should all be angry at Carter Hart for how things went down. Who, by the way, I think we mentioned last week that Vegas was the team. I believe it's going to be announced. I think he's eligible to sign today.
Can't play till later.
Can't play till later. He's going to sign with Vegas. I think the last thing I saw was 2-year deal. 2-year deal. I'm not sure if it's $2 million per or $2 million total, but it's not going to be league minimum. So
I think it's $2 million per, but I'm not sure.
$2 million per. Wow.
But you're right. It's not league minimum.
So, we kind of speculated last week. I think the Hurricanes were the top team at the time. And I mentioned Vegas is sniffing around too, and it looks like it could be. Dude, imagine that for a second. Not to get too far. We're not too far off topic. It's still goaltending. But you're Carter Hart, right? You're playing for the Philadelphia Flyers. Some stuff happens, like you go to court, your career's in jeopardy, whether you agree with what happened or not. You take a year and a half off. Right? It looks like you're going to be potentially punished, yada, yada. You're allowed back into the league, and you now have the opportunity to pick where you want to play. Right? He gets to say, thank you, Flyers. I'm looking for a change of scenery. I know that Las Vegas has been knocking on my door. Imagine after all this that you get to go play for Las Vegas, where you get tax-free income. You get to go live out in Vegas. A young kid who parties. We know that he likes the ladies.
Oh, boy.
He gets to go play for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, good team. Out west. He'll be back.
Dude, What?
I'll be
better
back
outcome could you have won
later.
if you were Carter Hart?
Hey, it is what it is. What are you
What's
going
the
to do?
punishment in that? You got to take a year away from playing for the Flyers to get to go play for the Knights.
Yeah, you didn't get punished when you're found innocent. That's fact.
Yeah, dude. I would take that punishment every day of the week.
Well, he gets to resume his career after a year and a half off. So it is what it is. It's not with the Flyers yet.
And now we're sitting here talking about, man, I just hope Dan Vladar and Sam Ersson can provide stability in goal for the Flyers.
Yeah, the bar's not very high, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, I think, to think about. Anyways, that's all I'm hoping for is stability in goal. Maybe they split 40-40. I would still like to see Sam Ersson show something. The last two years were just a little bit uninspiring, and I went into last season saying I still believed in him. Now he needs to give you a reason why, right, yeah. Sam Ersson?
Yes, and there's not just Sam Ersson, but Kim Dillaball. There's going to be no excuse this time around for like what happened at the goal. There's no three-headed monster. There's no two goalies that haven't yet to play in the NHL. Vladar has been in the league a bit. He should, they can't get somebody above 900, even if it's 901 save percentage, we're going to be saying goodbye to a lot of people. So, between some defensemen, Ersson and probably Kim Dillaball, they kept him through all this goaltending nonsense. We're going to see. We're going to see. So far, so good. Ersson was a little rusty, especially his first game. The game he gave up 4 goals. I literally, I was at that game. I really can't blame any goal on him. I actually thought he was pretty decent. The one that Bump let up, that was BS. The one play was a power play goal. The other play was like a 3-on-0. I think they could be okay. I really do. If it works out, we'll see if they can stay healthy. And even then, if somebody does eventually get hurt, which is totally reasonable, having Kolosov, if not Bjarnason, that would be a stretch. But having somebody like that come up, that makes so much sense. Not to stay, just to get a taste. Then now you're looking at a better situation for growth for those guys. So they're just set up so much better than they were before. It's like night and day from last year.
I hope so. And a good buddy Oakham mentions in the chat there about Carter Hart's career, 906 save percentage. The two guys that we're talking about, Sam Ersson has a career 888 save percentage, and Dan Vladar has a career 895 save percentage.
Oh boy.
So let's not poo-poo a 906.
Not exactly the 96 Devils defense there, though. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, stability. That's all I'm hoping for. Just the bare minimum,
that's all you need.
Nothing crazy is all I want.
Should be interesting.
All right. So we're coming up on an hour here, Jack. We did the goaltending. We have a few topics left. I'll let you pick. Let's do one of the 3. We got potential lineup. We got Torch Shade, who I put a video out a couple days ago, so maybe we don't want to do that. I don't know. And Kirill Kaprizov, a guy that was supposed to be a free agent next summer in the big free agency. I mean, this could be a topic all season long. So it's of those 3, which one do you want to get into? Or we can let the viewers decide. Which one do you guys want us to talk about? What do you think, Jack?
I'm leaning towards the lineup because by Saturday it's going to be a dress rehearsal. So we might as well give it now, not the day before the first game when we already know the lineup.
Okay. Lyndon wants to do Kaprizov. Look, if we can squeeze in both, let's start with the lineup. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I think my first line, Jim, and I'm a big fan of this. It's a shame because I like the idea of Zegras and Mishkov together, but I think that's going to be more effective on the power play. So I'm thinking of a Couturier, Mishkov, and Konechny top line. You got to give Coots the center spot and just see what happens from there. Whether you limit the minutes or move things around later, I want my top lines out there. I think to get the most out of Tippett, you're going to have him on the second line. And I think that you're going to have to put him with Zegras and Dvorak, and I have Dvorak. So this is with the understanding that Luchenko doesn't make the team. I'm going by who earned it. Luchenko making the team obviously throws some things off here. So Dvorak can spell Zegras, and he can take some face-offs and kick out to wing and whatnot, and until he feels better doing that stuff. You keep Forrester, Cates, and Brink together for obvious reasons. They could even be your second line. Whatever. It's how you distribute the minutes. And then probably I will go Obels, Grabenkin, and Hathaway with as your fourth line, with Nick Delorier as your 13th forward. On defense, York, Sanheim. I got Sealer, Drysdale. And I guess you go Jennings and Zamula with Juleson and Gilbert as your two guys in the press box and see what happens, because that's what they decided. I'd start Vladar, but I know they'll start Urson. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. If you want to talk what things would look like with Luchenko, I'm down for that. But that's what I'm looking at based on performance.
Yeah, I would say that it's fine. Like, any way you mix these lines up, like, they're forward wise, they're fine, right? Like, I think I'm in agreement. Keep that Forrester, Cates, Brink line together. I was curious to see if Tocchet was going to break that up or not. I like that he's keeping it together at least to start, right? Because we were just talking about stability. These guys know that they have chemistry. They can head into next season knowing this is comfortable for me. I know what to expect from my line mates here. So I'm with you there. I keep that line together. This is going to sound a little, and the Flyers, I think, have three lines that they could call their top line, unless Michkov really. Hang on here. We got a ding dong ditcher.
Oh boy,
Travis Ballinghoff. Can you hear my
I
doorbell?
know. I could tell. He does it to me too.
So unprofessional.
It's definitely him. I could tell.
All right. So, can you hear this?
I can hear it. So they're really going. They're not ditching. They're just dinging. It's just a dinger. Ding, ding, dinger. So one thing I'll say about the Forrester, Cates, Brink line, which I agree should stay together. I think if Bump actually earned a spot and made the team, they would consider moving Forrester up to maybe play with Zegras and whoever else. Because, yeah, that line is great, but Forrester's a top six guy. That's a third line. And Bump makes more sense on the third line. He could also kind of, if things worked out, fill that role. With Bump not making the team and really screwing things up, I think they're like, let's just stick with what we know and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Lost my train of thought. All right. So, look, I'm keeping Zegras and Michkov together, right? They're kind of showing chemistry during camp, the off season. They're trying to build whatever they're building. So I mentioned earlier in the show, those two guys might be the guys where you could kind of just toss anybody in. And what's that line missing? Missing a little bit of size, missing a little bit of grit.
Whoa! We don't do size, Jim.
We just Flyers.
Skill. Yeah. Just skill.
So I'll toss Grabenkin in on that. He's got the language thing with Michkov. Maybe he's a guy. Put him with skill guys. Maybe he, there's some offensive ability untapped to go along with the physicality. Second line, or wherever you look, first, second, third line, wherever you want to call these guys, they kind of have an interchangeable lineup here. The third line plays like the top line because they're so comfortable. But second line, Owen Tippett, Sean Couturier, Travis Konechny. I like matching Couturier up with Tippett. And, he and TK together. I don't know if Couturier will bring TK down at all. We'll see. We'll see if Coots still has it. We'll see if Torts was the guy holding him back a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's two players who need to be good this year because the amount of shade they're throwing at Torts is wild. They make it sound like it's nothing, but they've done it so many times. That's York and Coots have thrown a lot of shade at Tortorella. Fine. I would be the same way. Seriously. They better be better. Seriously. They better be good. Seriously. Just for one more time. Said 3 times now. But no, they better be, because they are throwing a lot. Well, we could be ourselves. Everybody was afraid to do anything. Yeah, we were a big, bad, meanie coach. Okay, great. He's gone. Make your jokes. I'm all for it if what you're saying has credence and you're better. So I am definitely got a little bit of a microscope on those two, particularly on the power play, Coots, and just in general, 5-on-5. So,
yeah. little bit. It's a little unprofessional, I think. There.
It's okay, though. I get it. They probably went through absolute hell. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I can't believe this. No. They probably went through some serious shit. And I give York a lot of credit for standing up for himself at the end of last year when all that torch shit went down. I truly do. I was proud of him. I was happy for it. Throw their shade. Prove to me that you can be the player you were supposed to be. And just take a step forward. Go, at the very least, in York's case, go back to the player you were 2 years ago, because that was a hell of a defenseman. God forbid you throw in some offense. If given the opportunity, maybe you'll get it this season under the new coaching staff. And Coots, same deal. Obviously, him and Torts didn't see eye to eye is the nicest way to put it. Threw a ton of shade. Well, good. Be the guy you were at the end of last season for at least a majority of the season.
That's how I would like to see backed up, because just saying stuff in the media, I don't like the look. To me, it looks petty. To me, it's like, well, he's not here anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he can't really answer you unless that's the whole point of it. But to me, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like the look. I didn't like when Voracek was doing that stuff. I don't like it. It's just, you know,
unless they back it up. When you back it up, then fine. You know, winning or being successful makes people forget about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're going to be that way, there better be some actual truth behind it. That's going to come through your play. So they set this up. Now it's your time to take the ball and run with it, please, because I'm watching.
Yeah. Look, you put a guy like Couturier with Tippett and TK, you would assume he could get back to at least 50 points. So we'll see. You got the Forster, Cates, Brink line. As far as we know, that line's rock solid. And then the fourth line, which I think, you know, if Dvorak ends up playing on the fourth line, and maybe he starts out there, but for $5 million a year, don't really make a sense. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to be putting your, you know, $5 million player as your fourth line center. But in this case, I have him starting out on the fourth line with Obels, Garnet Hathaway. And then, like you said, maybe something happens around the lineup here. Obels moves to center. Dvorak moves further up in the lineup. Maybe they want to protect Zegras in the faceoff dot, whatever it is. But look, the long and short of it, Flyers forward group is pretty good, right?
I mean, it's certainly better than what I expected. Potential. There's a lot of potential there. And I love that, because Zegras could really pop off. Let's not forget that. The shit he went through in Anaheim is truly, like, not appreciated by the mainstream media. This guy was well on his way to be, if not just a great NHL player, a face of the league. He was already on the cover of the NHL as young as he was, 2 60-point seasons. He has, and you literally see this with their GM, with Pat Verbeek. It's not just Zegras' contract that was tough, that was bad blood and tough. Drysdale had tough negotiations. McTavish just had tough negotiations. It took forever for Gibson to be traded out of there. It's not exactly like it's a great environment. And they had a coach, I think it's Cronin was his name, like almost as bad as Torts, with zero like clout. They don't have a Stanley Cup. They don't have any of that stuff. And then on top of that, he's the first guy kicked to wing. He's doing everything they asked for him defensively. His defensive metrics have improved tremendously. He's dealing with injuries, and it's almost like he could do nothing right, you know? So now so all I'm saying is, like, I understand needing a change of scenery. Glad we got him for peanuts, but like, it's not wild to think that he could turn into that guy those first 2 seasons again. It's not wild. You put him with a guy like Mishkov and magic happens. I was at the game Saturday. That power play goal was beautiful. Beautiful. I had to go to the bathroom after that. It was amazing. All right.
The poop?
Yes. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, seriously though, they could do some serious magic, and just keep an eye out, man. There's so much potential. Grabenkin, Bump could rejoin the lineup once he figures things out. Like, there's a plethora of things that could go right. There's also a plethora of things that could go wrong. But I'm just saying, from the optimistic standpoint, because why be pessimistic? We're already expecting that. There are a lot of things that could go right here. And yeah, I guess ultimately we'll see. But I like the forward group, to say the least.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some goals this year on both ends of the ice. Because I don't think that their defense is very good. And maybe that's the whole reason for, you know, the big body defensive third pair. I think the issues that they had last year are still around. The defense is not great. Goaltending, look, maybe it's a little bit more stable. Not great still. The forward group could be fun. And that's what I'll be watching for. Defensively, I think you hit the nail on the head with pairings there. York, Sanheim, Drysdale, Sealer, which I think should be a third pair. Their top pair should be a second pair. Their second pair should be a third pair. And their third pair should be in the press box or in the AHL. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I see things there. You can, I don't even care. Put whatever mix of bodies you want on the third pair, whether it's Samula, Juleson, whoever it is. I hope when Ristolainen comes back that maybe they finally give a call up there or what have you. But yeah. All right. So why don't we wrap this show up, Jack? You want to get the fans of Philly reading here so I can pay the bills for this week?
Let's do it, my friend. All right, guys, quick timeout, because if you're a diehard Philly sports fan, you need to hear about this. Fans of Philly is the ultimate way to hit the road with the Birds, the Flyers, the Phillies, or even the Sixers. We're talking full travel packages, your hotel, your transportation, and yes, the tailgates that are basically legendary at this point, all taken care of for you. No stress, no scrambling for tickets, no worrying about where you're staying. You just show up, throw on your jersey, and enjoy the ride with your fellow diehard Philly fans. So whether it's flying out to see the Eagles take over an opponent's arena, cheering on the Flyers in enemy territory, or making it a full weekend getaway for the Phillies and Sixers, Fans of Philly has you covered. Trust me, this is the closest you'll get to feeling like one of the players themselves as they roll into town, because the takeover is real. So check them out Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Start planning your next Phillies road trip today. That's Fans of Philly, phfansofphilly.com, where every game feels like a home game.
Thank you, Jack. And thank you, fans of Philly. Thank you, everyone, for watching us tonight. We had a lot to get off our chests. But yeah, one more show till the start of Flyers hockey officially. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe and help us on our quest for 2,000 YouTube subscribers. We just hit 1,600 the other day. So thank you, everyone who has subscribed. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Like and leave a comment for us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, or Spotify, and set alerts so you're the first to know when we drop a new show. And for all of our latest episodes, head over to our YouTube page at HW Hockey YT. For Jack, I'm Jim. We're going to wrap this one up. We'll talk to everybody next week. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.